Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to another episode of Ramadan Reminders 2026, presented by Muslim Council of Hong Kong. Today's topic, Be Like the Prophet, is Ayub alayhi salam. Allah describes Ayub alayhi salam as Ni'mal Abd. What an excellent servant. There are only 6 verses in the Quran that describes Ayub alayhi salam, but that does not undermine the importance of the lesson Allah wants us to learn through him. Ayub alayhi salam is from the offspring of Ishaq. He's extremely wealthy and has beautiful righteous spouse and even 10 offsprings. Basically, he's been blessed with everything human wants or desires. But yet, his devotion to Allah is unparalleled. But we cannot talk about Ayub alayhi salam without talking about Shaitan. Shaitan, our greatest enemy, vowed to misguide every single human being, including Ayub alayhi salam. But the most complicated thing is our obedience is what hurts Shaitan the most. Collected in Sahih Muslim, Prophet Muhammad told us, when the son of Adam recites the verse of prostration and he prostrates, Shaitan withdraws to the corner weeping. So Shaitan cannot understand how Ayub alayhi salam can be sincere to Allah in devotion after all that he's been given. He's managed to convince himself that the only reason why Ayub alayhi salam is worshipping Allah is because of all that he's been given. So by the permission of Allah, Shaitan would test Ayub alayhi salam. So first thing, Shaitan tested Ayub alayhi salam with the loss of that very same wealth he was given. He lost all the wealth that he was blessed with. First and foremost, the test of wealth is not easy. That's evident as the number one reason why people get divorced in today's world. It's because of financial reason. So the test of wealth is in itself heavy and not easy, but it's even harder to be given and then taken away. But Ayub alayhi salam remained patient and continued to worship Allah as he normally would. And the next test Shaitan tests Ayub alayhi salam is the loss of his children. That same 10 children he was blessed with were killed in an incident. The test of family is hard, even to the prophets. That's why when the Prophet Muhammad was asked which part of his life is the most painful, the most difficult, and he responded, the year of sorrow, the year he lost Khadija and Abu Talib, because he lost his closest family member. So parents who are listening now, that know that they would take a bullet to protect their children from any harm. Not one, but all 10 of them returned back to Allah at the same time. Imagine Ayub alayhi salam leaving home with 10 children running around, hustling and bustling, and kissing Ayub alayhi salam goodbye. Ayub alayhi salam returned home that same night to an empty house. But he still remained patient. So patient that Yazid ibn Maysara radiallahu anhu said that when Allah tested Ayub alayhi salam with the loss of his family, wealth and children, and he had nothing left, he started to focus upon the remembrance of Allah. Ayub alayhi salam called upon Allah and said, I praise you, O Lord of the worlds, who has given me from his bounty wealth and children, and my heart was so busy with them. So you have taken them all and made my heart empty except for your remembrance. Now nothing comes between me and you, and if my enemy Iblis knows what you did to me, he will envy me. And that's when Shaitan stepped up his game and tested Ayub alayhi salam with his help. So much so that none of his organ is fine except his heart and tongue, which he would glorify Allah day and night. And his test on wealth is so severe that people started distancing themselves from him, except for his wife, who continued taking care of him. It turned from someone who's looked upon greatly and highly in the society to an outcast where people wouldn't even dare go near him. And all these didn't last for 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. All these lasted for 18 years. Until one day, 2 of his closest brothers were discussing. One of them said to the other, you know, by Allah, that Ayub alayhi salam must have committed a great sin which nobody in the world ever committed. His companion questioned him, why are you saying that? He said, for 18 years, he has been suffering and Allah has not had mercy on him and relieved his suffering. And upon knowing this, news of his companion spoke about him that way. And that's when Ayub alayhi salam called out to Allah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. وَأَيُّوبَ إِذْ نَادَى رَبَّهُ. Ayub alayhi salam, he called out audibly to Allah. أَنِّي مَسَّنِيَ الدُّرُّ. Indeed, what has touched me is the adversity. That slightly small inconvenience actually. Durr is actually to describe some sort of a slight inconvenience. وَأَنْتَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. But you, Ya Allah, the most merciful and the extremely merciful. And what did Allah do? فَاسْتَجَابَ لَهَا. And so we responded to him. فَكَشَفْنَا مَا بِهِ. And we removed from him what was min durri, any adversity. وَآتَيْنَاهُ أَهْلَهُ وَمِثْلَهُمْ. And we gave him his family and the like thereof. مَعْهُمْ رَحْمَةً مِّنْ إِنْدِنَا وَذِكْرَى لِلْعَابِدِينَ. And not only that, after he's been granted back all what he's been taken, he was also granted mercy from Allah, from the angels. And that is a reminder for those who constantly worship Allah. Abidin. So hardships are one of the three reasons: to expiate our sins, an opportunity to turn back to Allah, and in this case, to elevate Ayub alayhi salam to station that he wouldn't have otherwise achieved. And that applies to us. One of the greatest takeaway of Ayub alayhi salam's story is the fact that his worship to Allah never changed, in times of good and in times of hardship. And that should be what we as believers should be aiming for. Worshipping Allah through thick and thin, with istiqamah, steadfastness, until the day we return to Him, so that we can be amongst the Ayub alayhi salam. Jazakumullah khairan for listening. Please follow us for more reminders, like, share, and benefit.